Hey everybody, I'm Sam Haymartin. You're watching Growing Older Gay. Today we are talking about PrEP and DoxyPEP. And before we get into that conversation, I just have to put a disclaimer out there. I am not a doctor. I do work in the medical field, but I am not a doctor. I am not giving medical advice here. What we're talking about today is my own knowledge and my own experience with PrEP and DoxyPEP and why I believe it's an option for a lot of men out there who have sex with men. In fact, I almost think it's a responsibility. But before we go that far, let's set the backdrop a little bit. Myself, I am a mid-50s gay man. I have a lot of sex with a lot of men. I do. And I don't like using condoms. It is no fun at all. In fact, usually if given the choice, if somebody wants to have a condom either on them or wants me to wear a condom, I usually pass. And it's not that I'm shaming people for that, but I just prefer to not have one. And if you're my age or anywhere close to that, you grew up during the AIDS crisis, which was horrifying. Maybe you've had friends, maybe you've had lovers who have fallen to that situation. And it becomes very difficult for a lot of people in my age bracket to find joy, find freedom, find ease and comfort in raw, unprotected sex again. And so that's why we're talking about this, because as someone who does HIV testing for a local organization here in my hometown, I find a lot of men that I talk to still are not on PrEP, still are not on DoxyPEP. And when I ask them why, they have a lot of misconceptions about it. First of all, that have become barriers to them deciding to move forth and do it. And that is price, that is side effects, that is, oh, I don't need it, or maybe there's stigma in their mind around it. So we're going to talk about a couple of those things today. The first thing we're going to talk about is HIV PrEP. It is a little blue pill right here. It's probably throwing me out of focus just a little bit, but it's one little pill taken every day. And right now, a couple of different big names are on the market. There is Truvada and Descovy. Now, Truvada now has a lot of generics out there on the market, which means the prices come way down. But essentially the gist of it is you take one pill a day. It has a 99% effective rate at preventing the transmission of HIV into your cells and allowing it to continue growing. And so that means that basically it's 99% effective of stopping HIV if you are exposed to it. That means you can get the hottest load that exists out there, and it's 99% effective at preventing that. It's a great thing. I've been taking it now for over 8 years, and for me, it's been just life-changing. It allows me to go out in the play spaces. It allows me to go out and have as much sex as I want with as many men as I want, and I don't have to ask the question. So it takes that whole thing out of the equation. I don't have to say, what's your HIV status? Because I'm worried about it. And if that's you, there are ways to solve that problem for yourself. Honey, it doesn't have to be this way. If you get on PrEP, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to ask. It never becomes an issue ever again. And I'm not shaming anyone who's not on PrEP. I'm simply explaining that it is an option and the cost is no longer a barrier. Most insurance covers it, first of all, even Medicaid, at least right now. Things may change in the future given the new regime going on out there, but it is covered by most insurance. So in most cases, it's absolutely free. Even the doctor visits to go in and get checked every 3 months, which is usually part of the routine. You go in, you get STI tested every 3 months. They make sure everything's good. They check other areas, your liver, your kidney, things like that to make sure all your levels are good, and on you go taking your PrEP. And there are a number of different options now too. There's a new injectable that can last a couple of months, and they're even working on one now that lasts 6 months. So if taking a pill every day isn't your vibe, man, you can option for an injection instead. What does it cost? Well, even if you don't have insurance, even if that isn't an option for you, it costs about $30 a month if you go with a generic. And I've been taking generic now for about 2-3 years, and it works just as well. And believe me, I know. I've been with a lot of men who I know are HIV positive, and I'm not. And there's such a freedom in not having to pick and choose who you love, who you want to have fun with and who you want to connect with. And it's just a wonderful thing. It's changed my sex life for the better. Now, yes, some people can't take it because of certain medical issues, and that's something you must talk to your doctor about. Again, not giving medical advice here. And I don't work for any of these companies that make these drugs. I am just an advocate because it has changed my ability to go out there and function in a sexually charged environment and just not have to worry about that. The next and the last thing I'll share on this is the fact that it really is the responsible thing to do to be on PrEP if you're out there being sexually active and having unprotected sex, because it is self-care. It is taking care of yourself and looking out for your own health. But more important than that, it is being responsible in your community to other people, because if you contract HIV, there is a period of time that you are going to be completely unaware of that and passing that along to the people you're with. Yeah, and this is common knowledge, but a lot of people don't know that it may take weeks or months even before you start wondering what the heck's going on with yourself. And some people can go a long time and have HIV in their system and be unaware of it. And again, $30 a month, if you have to pay for it, not a bad price to pay for all the raw dog, unprotected sex you want to have and never having to worry about it. It's great. So the next thing is DoxyPEP. And this takes care of the other collection of STIs that you can easily get out there if you're having sex with a lot of people. Unprotected sex, that is. And even if you're just doing the oral thing, or if you're doing other parts and pieces, maybe you're aside, but you're still getting contact that's liquid and fresh, you can still get gonorrhea, syphilis, or chlamydia. You can still get those things even if you're aside, even if you're not doing the penetrative thing. DoxyPEP is doxycycline, an antibiotic, and they essentially give you an amount of it, and you take 2 of the pills, 100 milligrams each, within 24 to 72 hours after you've been exposed, if you've had sex with somebody outside, maybe your partner or something like that. And if you go to a sex party, do a lot of that, within 24 to 72 hours, this dose can protect you against getting chlamydia, gonorrhea, or syphilis. When it comes to chlamydia, it can protect you from an infection by about 80 to 85% effectiveness. Syphilis, 70 to 80% effectiveness. Gonorrhea, a little bit lower than some of the others at 60%. So it's not a silver bullet, but if you're playing the odds and the statistics, I would call it a bronze bullet. If you take it after that sexual contact with somebody, even if you're also taking PrEP, which I do, you are lowering the odds of you getting and then transmitting after that any of these 3 STIs. And again, I've been taking this for quite some time. I find it very effective. Yes, there are some side effects for some people. Doxycycline as an antibiotic does tend to upset the stomach sometimes with some people, and there are some people that are allergic to it. So it's not a magic weapon for everybody, but for the vast majority of people out there, it is peace of mind. Once again, after you go out for that crazy night or that crazy weekend, have a couple of those and you're taken care of. And again, just like on PrEP, it's recommended that you do get yourself checked at least every 3 months just to make sure, because a lot of these 3, you can get them and be asymptomatic and be unaware that not only do you have it, but you're passing that along to other people. And that's no fun. It's no fun. And so let me talk about some of the objections really quick before I close that I hear when I talk to men who are having sex. One of them is, oh, I'm not a whore like that, or I don't have that much sex, or I'm not that kind of person. It's basically the assumption that, well, I don't rise to the level of having to protect myself against this. Well, look, if you're having sex just one single time, unprotected, it doesn't matter if you're not a whore, you're not that kind of person, or I just don't have sex that much. It only takes once to get exposed to any of these STIs. It only takes once. And at the end of the day, don't you want to be active? I mean, don't you want to be that person? If you're honest, don't you fantasize about being able to just do whatever you want, whenever you want? I mean, let's be honest. You can clutch your pearls. Oh, I'm not that kind of person. But don't you want to be? I mean, really? I mean, come on. And this is a very inexpensive way of being able to do that, not only guilt-free, worry-free, but knowing that you're responsible at it. The next objection I hear from people is cost. Well, yeah, there was a time when if you wanted to be on PrEP, that was $500, $600, $800, maybe even well more than $1,000 a month to get on PrEP, because Truvada is essentially one of the HIV medications that people who have HIV are taking or used to take quite often. And so it's an expensive drug, and it still is. But because there are generics, it's gotten to a point where even if you do have to pay for it, it's like $30 a month, as I said earlier. DoxyPEP, that drug is very inexpensive. When I get it at the pharmacy, it's about $8 to $10. It's very cheap. It's a cheap way to ensure a very difficult situation that could come up. Now, the other objection I hear from a couple of people is, well, I'm on the DL, or I'm married and I can't go to my doctor because we both share the same doctor, whatever. Maybe you're on the DL. It's I don't recommend that. But if you are that person, I'm not judging. What I will tell you is that there are a lot of ways that you can get this discreetly and get it online, away from your normal doctor. And you can just do this completely via telehealth with people that know what they're doing. And if you are online at all, in any of the gay spaces online, you'll see the ads for these. You know who they are. They're out there. They advertise. You call them up. You make an appointment online. You talk to a telehealth doctor. They go, yep, you can have it. And then they mail it to you. And it's pretty cheap usually. And the last thing I would say is there is some stigma out there around this still. When PrEP first came out, it was met with a lot of resistance in the gay community because a lot of people thought, oh, these people are just whores. They're out there they're doing the wrong thing, right? This enables people to be sexually irresponsible. This allows people to just go out and do all of this stuff that we've been trying to reel in. Well, if you're that person, listen to what you're saying. Just think about that for a minute. Clutching your pearls, that's all the stuff we've been trying to stop. Why? If you're taking medication to protect yourself and to protect others that you're with, that is the most responsible, moral, upstanding thing that you can do. We have God-given sex powers. God built us to be sexual. We can go out there and have all the sex we want, provided it's not hurting ourselves or hurting the other person emotionally, maybe a relationship, whatever that may be. That's a whole nother ball game. But the bottom line is physically, medically, protecting yourself is the most responsible and moral thing that you can do. There is no reason to believe that there's stigma around this anymore. There's no reason to place stigma on it. This is a good thing to do that upstanding gays do. Now, if you have any questions or maybe your own experience around using PrEP or DoxyPEP or some other information that can be helpful here in this context, please do drop those in the comments down below. Now, keep in mind, we do monitor all of our comments and approve those to keep the trolls out. So if it doesn't show up right away, don't worry about it. And I will do my best to respond and answer your questions. So there you go, folks. My little spiel on PrEP and DoxyPEP. It's liberating. It's the right thing to do. And there's no reason not to do it unless you have medical reasons that you can't. And that does exist. So there you go, my friends. If you'd like to see our latest video here on Growing Older Gay, we do a lot of stuff like this. You can see that right there. Better yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel right there. And, well, stay informed of everything we do.